Hey, love. Welcome to the Shy Love Radio Show, Pop Radio Worldwide, iHeartRadio, and Spotify Premium. Hosted by yours truly, Melanie Hogan. We are sponsored by Shy Love LLC. Before we begin with today's topic, we always start by taking 3 deep breaths, inhaling for 3 seconds, holding it, and releasing. 1, 2, 3. Now, Shy Love is definitely from Chicago, born and raised. So you'll hear of a lot of things that's going on here in Chicago. And just recently, the city is experiencing some shutdowns and curfews and messages being passed around for people to be safe, be more aware of their environment, be more aware of crowds, especially those who are going out to protest. And the crowd is being mixed with protesters and looters. So we recently had a situation where, we had a group to go and gather at a central district police station as they tried to get people who were arrested for looting downtown released from police custody. Now, due to the looting downtown early Monday, there's a restriction on access to the area as well as several arrests, okay? So those who were still arrested Monday night with the protesters, there were protesters who were outside the police district, the police station, and they were calling for their release. People were coming and willing to pay the bill for protesters slash looters to be released. Now, many of us woke up and wondered what in the world was going on to where there was, more looting and more protesting, specifically, in the downtown in, I think, Gold Coast area. We saw camera footage of people with masks, very good, and people without masks, and they were, you know, breaking into stores. They were stealing, aka looting. There were vans pulling up. I think somebody said they saw a U-Haul truck. The government officials were saying that this was plotted. It was a strategy. They knew ahead of time what they intended on doing. And this is why. It is alleged that the police shooting of an Inglewood man reignited the incident from earlier this year with George Floyd. Now, earlier this year, everyone was traumatized to a certain degree because the George Floyd incident is just disheartening. But on the positive note, we are definitely starting to see some type of change. You know, he does have a tattoo that represents order and chaos. So despite this chaos that we are seeing, you know, we have been having some improvements. A lot of situations are starting to gain light, gain some traction. We are starting to see some movement with some things. So that part is good, but the aftermath and how we had to even get to this point was very disheartening and discouraging. So that happened in Minneapolis, and here in Chicago, we was just out here in the streets for Laquan McDonald, myself personally. We was just out here in the streets with the revolution, you know, who's stationed over here on 71st now. We was just out here because of these unjust killings that especially African Americans are having to endure based off the color of their skin. So now after all of that, after this whole outcry, after people express their displeasure by setting things on fire, like literally coming for all the smoke behind this situation, we continue to have CPD stories with linked to CPD with, you know, some type of shooting, some type of harm coming to a resident. Now, I must say this. Um, it's just really disheartening that we are having to keep having to have like some of the same conversation. In this case, and in a lot of cases actually, when you hear the police side of it, they are saying that this young man from Inglewood took off running from them and actually shot at them before they shot him. So thankfully, we have this camera footage, so it should be nothing to prove that, right? So that incident right there is what ignited the looting downtown. During the looting spree, 13 cops were injured and two were shot, and two people were shot. So the good part is that, okay, yes, we've had some injuries, we've had some people shot, including the little Inglewood man, but nobody died. So although the shooting part of it and the injuries, you know, OMG, nobody died this time. So it's like trying to find some type of silver lining in the rainbow, silver lining in the cloud. Hundreds of people were on the Magnificent Mile and other parts of downtown. Yeah, not the Gold Coast, Magnificent Mile. In other parts of downtown Chicago early Monday were seen recorded smashing windows, looting stores, and confronting police officers after officers shot a suspect in Inglewood hours earlier. Patsy Mullins, owner of Accessorize, the Accessorize store downtown, was completely empty. She said that they emptied out her store, like took it all from her. She said, let's dig to the root of the problem. Let's not look at the surface. We need to get to the bottom of this. Otherwise, this problem will never be solved and will continue again and again. You're a very wise woman, Patsy Mullins, and hopefully you get what you need to restore your store or reopen somewhere else. Hopefully you get the resources that you need to continue to move forward, because you didn't personally have anything to do with the shooting of the Inglewood gentleman, nor did you have on the police uniform to represent those who did shoot this man. Hugs to your little self. But she makes a valid point. City officials say that seeds were planted on social media Sunday afternoon after after the officers shot and wounded a 20-year-old man who allegedly had fled and fired shots at them. TT Lightfoot said that they spread false rumors, saying that the boy was 15, and that's what riled the people up. TT, Mayor TT Lightfoot. Yes, the 15-year-old, because we're tired of seeing these babies get killed back to back here in Chicago. But the point of it is that it was another black man. It don't matter if he was 5, 15, 45, 85. Superintendent David Brown said that this was not an organized protest. It was an incident of pure criminal behavior from the evil bastards. That's what he referred to, those who are shooting and killing these children out here. That's out here causing this corruption and stuff. Evil bastards. He said that this was planned. This was an act of violence against our police officers and against our city. Right? So TT Lightfoot, I guess we'll call Superintendent David Brown Cuzzo. They said what they said, and here come Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter Chicago protested outside. They were the ones who were outside that police station. They were outside that precinct on Monday night. And they blasted TT for accepting the police version and not doing more to institute reform. Now, I would like to see the footage, because that's how we can just go ahead and get to the bottom line of what really happened. Nevertheless, Black Lives Matter suggests that the man was right to flee authorities, given the department's history of racism and abusive tactics. See, and that's an awkward position that a lot of people are in, especially a lot of African Americans, especially a lot of Black youth. It seems more likely that you would lose your life to a police officer than an actual op these days. One thing I can say about CPD is that their aim is on point, buddy. They hit their target. A lot of Chiracians, not so much. So a lot of people actually are in a greater fear of CPD or of police officers, because look at what has gone on. Look at what is going on. And then yes, okay, we having police officers finally getting arrested or whatever, but look at the history of even if they do get convicted, it's not like the punishment is really fitting the crime. So yeah, and especially here in Chicago, when it comes to the Black youth, the African American youth, you better believe it's PTSD. Know it. So yes, maybe his little man tweaked out. He felt like he wasn't ready to die. He felt like in order for him to live, he needed to flee. Now, was it a case where, because they said he fled then shot. So okay, was he running? Y'all was chasing his little self. Then he like fuck and just turned around and started busting. I don't know. Let's put this footage out here. So Black Lives Matters says that TT did not take the time to criticize her officers for shooting another Black man Instead, she attacked the looters, said Black Lives Matter. Mm. Y'all heard this saying, like, two wrongs don't make a right? And sometimes it do here. Sometimes it do. Because that's the only way the op understands that where you stand on that. So sometimes you know. But what I will say is to protest, to organize and strategize, to strike back because of an injustice. Listen, you're not listening when we're speaking calmly. So if people are adamant about getting heard, you're gonna do. People are going to use extreme measures to get heard, right? The only thing is, when it comes to the looting, is that people like Miss Patsy Mullins, owner of Accessorize, she didn't have anything to do with that. So it's like people are fighting for injustice because people like, okay, I was innocent. I'm just black. I'm just walking down the street. I got attacked. I got shot. I got abused. I got, got locked up, whatever. And it's like these store owners are basically saying the same thing. Like I was in the area. My business was right here. I was at home asleep. I didn't know that the man got shot. I didn't shoot him. I didn't have nothing to do with that. But now you have changed my life because you mad at somebody else. You have changed these people's lives and their own personal money and legacies and kingdoms that they building up because you mad at somebody else. So I definitely get it, and I definitely support the movement. Sure do. But sometimes we just gotta re-strategize. But I'm going to continue to go forth and give you Black Lives Matters perspective. So okay, they said she attacked the looters more than she did the officers. The first time it was kind of the opposite actually. TT was like, I get it. And she was, berating and going after the officers as well. She was fussing at they selves. So it's like now she fussing at the looters, so I guess, she covering all grounds. She pointing out everybody's mistakes, or, what she perceives to be everybody's mistakes. So Black Lives Matters has some advice for TT, has a word of wisdom for her. Black Lives Matter says that TT Mayor Lightfoot would be wise to understand that the people will keep rising up until CPD is abolished and our Black communities are fully invested in. So yeah, y'all right. It was definitely organized because that is yeah. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Just rallying together in a group and pumping our fists and walking through the streets is not getting the results that we seek. You say, yeah, go on, holler and wear your little stuff out. You did something, your voice matters, it was heard, but we ain't changed nothing. That's what your actions is saying. So when your actions put out messages like that, then you have rebuttals and responses that say that it would be wise to understand that the people will keep rising up until CPD is abolished. And they didn't even say reform. They didn't even say reform, abolished. And our Black communities are fully invested in. It has gotten to that point. And if you were able to see the footage, it was a lot of youth out there. It was a lot of youth out there. A lot. And I don't know about the youth in the other states, but baby, our youth here in Chicago is with it. Whether it's for a good reason or a bad reason, they got the energy for it. And they bold, brass balls. And you know, with certain people, you could like push back and you like, I'm the big homie or whatever. But if you actually look at the makeup of the youth today, that's not going to be really effective. That's not going to be really effective. And no, I am not saying just to come and fold under everybody's demands or whatever, but what I am saying is be just and be fair, serve and protect. Be who you say you are. Be who you say you are. The way that we treat each other, the way that we treat each other. So more than 100 people were arrested, okay? 13 officers were injured. You see that? We used to have too many, real stories where officers was getting it back. People do not. Enough is enough. One thing about it is blue people still bleed red, baby. You could get it too. And that's obviously where this is going. Now, are we going to keep behaving in such a way to keep making the matter worse, or are we going to actually start to bring some type of solution and start to make some like real life active changes here? Because it's going to be a change one way or another. I was watching this little video on YouTube, and it was this little prisoner. He had been in jail for a long time. And he said, we're going to do this. We're going to do this the easy way or the hard way. But it's going to happen. So a civilian and a private security guard were also shot and wounded. Thankfully, nobody died though. Many store owners worried because they hadn't received the insurance claims from the previous looting spree. So maybe that's why it is, a little more fussing towards the looters, because it's like these not even the people who you're mad at. I'm going to put a disclaimer out there and say that I am not trying to incite any violence or a particular organization being targeted, but I'm just saying, if you're mad at the police, what you just standing out there hollering for, but you downtown breaking down stuff, like, come on, baby. You said you got these brass balls, right? Maybe you're building up to it, maybe not. And again, I'm not putting it out there and urging you to do so, but logically speaking, you would think that you would approach your enemy. So yeah, they haven't even received their money from the last looting spree. And then here they go again. They done found a way to restock their little stores and stuff. And again, taking a loss for something that they had nothing to do with. Maybe, yes, they are receiving the benefits of white privilege or of wealthy privilege, but they were not the ones who pulled the trigger. So it took cops 4 hours to get that situation under control. And they are also blaming TT Lightfoot for failing to develop an effective strategy following the previous looting. Well, it was a lot more catastrophes from that last looting. It was a lot more people reported being hurt, especially on the police side of the last looting. So it's an awkward spot because it's like they have to do their job, but then it's like you're trying to, decrease the numbers of reports that's coming back and saying that CPD is steady laying these bodies down. So now, probably the word is to try to be calmer out here, let them holler and get the little stuff up off their little chest or whatever. Try not to control with immediate or heinous force. They may be up under that little rule now. And then you turn around and get criticized because you're trying to find the escalating way of handling and maybe letting them blow off a little steam, then trying to get them to calm down to disperse or whatever. And then you're still getting criticized because it's like, okay, that's not good enough either. Y'all supposed to go in and shut it down. But the way that they are conditioned to shut it down is what has kind of gotten us to this point now. Okay. Okay. It's layers to this. It's layers to this. So, in regards to the downtown area being the targeted spot, Black Lives Matter says that since politicians value protecting high rent areas while poor neighborhoods suffer from disinvestment and neglect, Mayor TT Lightfoot shouldn't be surprised about the magnificent mall getting hit. So, okay, you know, gangsters, thugs, savages, gangs, organizations, people hit the same. I can't hit you personally, so I'm gonna hit something you love. I'm gonna hit something you value. I'm gonna hit something that's gonna get your attention. You see me now? Do you see me now? So, wowzers. This is wowzers. And there is a lot of work to be done. There is a lot of work to be done. So, they went on to say Black Lives Matter. When protesters attack high end retail stores that are owned by the wealthy and service the wealthy, that is not our city and has never been meant for us. Well, well. See why I said we need to amend the Constitution and involve us? You see, you can't keep getting people to do the same stuff that they was doing back up in the day because they was up under a blinded eye, another type of veil. Them veils have come off. People realizing that they've been used, that they've been manipulated, that they've been deceived, that the dysfunction of their family, dysfunction of their communities is not solely based on them, and that it's trying to be continued. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Especially when you have so many instances where Black people have still reached out to try to help cops, white people, whoever, have still tried to show a heart, who are out here asking for acceptance, for equality, asking for something that is a right, and still getting spit in the face, head knocked off, moves being made in vain. and then punished because they responding in a way showing that they don't like it, that they're not with it. Being punished. Being punished. That's like whooping a child and saying don't cry. And you don't whoop them some more or punish them some more because they crying because of something you have to cause. Like what? And when you don't have the wherewithal to, or the patience, or you just too blinded by rage to even just, come up with something, or maybe you're not strong enough yet to appear at your enemy's doorstep personally. You do things and you respond in these type of manners. Cause you gotta do something, yeah, dog. You about to burst inside. You gotta do something. And it's like you tear me up, so I'm gonna tear you up. I'm hurt. I am hurt, so I'm gonna hurt you. I want you to feel my pain. And a lot of people are in that energy. A lot of people are in that energy. And all this pushing back to see whose balls are the heaviest, that's not, it's not effective. It's not effective. You're saying you want things to go a certain way. Know that it needs to be give and take on all sides. Give and take on all sides. And not somebody giving you a loaf of bread and you're going to give them a crumb. Everybody needs to feel like they are benefiting. Everybody needs to feel like, we hear about stuff with the national deficit and how more people need to get jobs and pay into the taxes to, help with that. But especially us as African Americans, weren't even told that this is our land to even have to be concerned about some national deficit. We was told that it's not ours. We was told that we're not cared about unless we could be utilized. The golden rule, treat others as you would want to be treated. You're not forfeiting just because you're showing that you have a heart and you caring for people despite your governmental position. You're showing the people that I actually hear you, I understand you, I empathize with you, I sympathize with you, and I am taking steps to try to find a solution. And nothing is wrong with saying, listen, I don't have all the answers, but I am implementing. You should be noticing some type of difference by this time. In letting the words, there should be a positive correlation between your words and your actions. That movie 300, it kind of puts me in the mind of this situation right here with the humpback individual who was, he was loyal. He was, trying to show that he was with it. He like, here I am, accept me in, put me in, coach. And they had him around, but they never let him in and let him be a part of it. They never accepted him. And I can't remember the name of 300 Part 2, the sequel of it. But Hunty, when I say in the next sequel, he was on the other team, had built up profoundly. A significant change. You hear me? Got his weight up with his hate and paid him back. You hear me? With a whole nother crew. And ooh, them little arrows came, and them little 300 was 300 no more. They were 300 no more. And this situation just reminds me, it just puts me in a mindset like the African Americans are the humpback in the situation. Look at all these years. All these years. People not trying to prove to themselves they've been in a mind frame and conditions to prove something to the white man, prove something to the government, prove something to those who say that you're not real, prove something. Don't act like that. Don't act like that because they're going to say you this. Don't act like that because they make us look bad. Don't say that because they make us look bad. Everything else to prove something so that we can get something that's a right. Something that a right that should not have to be asked for or fought for. It's to declared and walk in. People are tired. And it's even more tiring to look into the faces of those of the same color, the same gender. But because you over and you're employed by that other side, you act like you forget. You act like you forget. Or you feel like that because you're up under a certain anointing or protection that you as long as you and yours is good, then that's the bottom line. Because you made whatever moves you made to get to this position. So why can't everyone else? Our mentalities, our judgments, we all need to take a really good look at ourselves in the mirror. We all need to take a really good look at ourselves in the mirror, start to make some changes with that person in the mirror, and then spread it out. And we can do this. We can do this. Whew. So we here at the Shyla Radio Show, Pop Radio Worldwide, iHeartRadio, and Spotify Premium are so aware and in tune with the need for consistent healing and working on oneself, because 2020 alone, my God, these situations alone, this topic alone makes me just feel fatigued in my soul. So let's talk about chronic fatigue with our mental health and wellness portion. Physicians and therapists are speaking on the common complaint of chronic fatigue. So many people, we are exhausted as a people, regardless of the color, of the status, of the financial status. We are exhausted. People are having difficulty getting out of bed, or they feel that their sleep does not restore their sense of energy. People are complaining about migrating headaches, pains conveyed as upper neck muscle tension and headaches. It's like, we do some of that breathing when we first kick in. That deep breathing to help with that. Researchers, people are complaining about impaired short-term memory, brain fog, a delayed or slow process of thinking, and even recovering from minor exercise, feeling exhausted after daily routine errands. Researchers found that there are 3.4 million sufferers in the U.S., and that's only the people who are actually going to the doctor to get checked out. ME/CFS is recognized as a real disease, but they're having trouble finding a home for this. Like, or with Alzheimer's. There's a whole institute and stuff for that. Certain diseases and disorders, there's like a whole institute and stuff for that. Like they have a whole home for that. But with this chronic fatigue, they don't really know how to, they don't have a definite solution. So what they're doing is treating the symptoms. And, medicine like for fibromyalgia or antidepressants, they have given that to people who have complained of chronic fatigue, and they saying that it has shown improvement with the pain, but not with the brain fog or the chronic fatigue. So they have this medicine called LDX. It's the FDA approved medication for ADHD and binge eating disorder. People who have taken that medicine have reported a marked improvement in their cognitive testing and their fatigue, as well as chronic pain. So, medicine has a lot of science to it, a lot of research, a lot of testing. So although they're saying that they don't have anything definite yet, like how somebody tell you to take a Tylenol for a headache, it's like an immediate response, they are still working on things. There is no cure or approved treatment for the overall diagnosis, but as I said earlier, the symptoms can be treated. So let's talk about stress management. Pursuing an enjoyable activity or verbalizing frustration to reduce stress and improve mental health. Find you a happy place, find you a happy activity. Sometimes you are holding in so much that you really do need to clear your throat chakra and, vent a little bit and get it up off your chest. Relaxation techniques. Deep breathing. When you're breathing in, your tummy is supposed to fill up with that air. You're supposed to hold it down up in there. And when you exhale, your tummy is supposed to fall back in. That's the proper way of deep breathing. People think, I breathe all the time. But there's a certain technique to the deep breathing that's going to get you to a relaxed state. Meditation, yoga, dancing, getting to know thyself, to know and understand what relaxes you. Getting to know thyself so that you can be more empowered during stressful situations, so that it doesn't take as long for you to bounce back. And the deeper that you get to know yourself, the deeper things will get. And sometimes it'll take a minute. Sometimes it won't take long at all. But knowing thyself is part of the key. So they're also telling you to be mindful, because when you're experiencing chronic fatigue and you just feel blah and your energy is off and you're not as productive as you usually are, those symptoms, they vary and they go up and down. And sometimes you have points to where, oh my God, you feel good, you feel energetic, your mind is clear, and you like, I'm gonna go after everything. I'm gonna push it. I got stuff to make up for. And they say that you have to be careful with that, because on that good day, you may overdo it. The general rule of thumb is the more you push yourself, the more you relax. It is important to have balance between activity and rest. Cognitive therapy, empowerment, talks with a counselor, or speak about options to work around your limitations, feeling more in control of your life and outlook dramatically. That's what talking to your counselor is supposed to do, helping you feel more empowered, helping you find a way when it seems like there is no way. Or you can engage in graded exercises with a physical therapist, because it is said that exercise is supposed to help with the anxiety and with the depression and everything, but with the chronic fatigue is actually counterproductive, because you even more exhausted and even more pain. It's just too much. So you can have graded exercise where a physical therapist helps you to determine which exercise are best, and instead of you doing 50 push-ups, maybe the therapist will, have you engage in some of that behavior, engage like when you are starting to, fall off, when it seems like it is actually, the more you're doing this exercise, it's actually starting to hurt you than to help you. So, okay, if 25 is being too much for you, let's see if we can cut it down to 15. Let's see where you at with that, how you feel. That's still too much. Okay, let's take it down to 10. Even if you got to take it down to just one, it's all progress. And no matter what is going on, I want you to work on creating a place within yourself to where you can stop in for a moment and have some type of peace. Creating activities for yourself, or engaging in activities for yourself that just make you laugh, forget what's going on for a minute, because you're going to need that. This is just August. 2020 is not over. I don't even want to ask what is next in 2021, but I'm going to keep a positive, optimistic mindset and just say that whatever it is, we can get through it. We love y'all here at the Shy Love Radio Show, Pop Radio Worldwide, iHeartRadio, and Spotify Premium. Until next time, hugs.